Hello everybody. Welcome back to another class for English for Standard 8. This is the second video for lesson number 2, Reader. The name of the chapter is Golden Moments by Jay Dubashi. In the last video, we went through the summary of the chapter, read the chapter and understood the chapter. We also discussed the textual exercises. Today, we are going to read the chapter in a little more detail. So let's get started. The title of the story. This short story is titled Golden Moments and it is written by Jay Dubashi. This story is a recollection of an incident from the author's past in which he reminisces means remembers, the times when he won a gold medal. The moment is golden or special to him because he was honored by the governor, an Englishman. The moment is also golden because it is a nostalgic trip back into his college days when he won his first ever gold medal. So we understand that the title Golden Moments has twofold meaning. First, the gold medal that the author won, he is talking about that. And second, the moment from his college days, a golden memory. Let us move forward. Setting of the story. Setting means the background or the atmosphere or the environment in which the story is set or written. As we know from the very beginning of the paragraph in the story that the story is a flashback. The author is recollecting about an incident from the past, and this past incident is set during the pre-independence era, which means our country India was not yet free from the rule of the British. And at that time, the story is set in Bombay, which is now called Mumbai. The environment is an academic one, means he is talking about studies, college, education. He even mentions graduation, matriculation. And in the story, we find there are scenes from a tailor's shop and also an elaborate scene from a graduation ceremony. So this is the basic setting of the story by Jay Dubashi in the short story titled The Golden Moments. Let's keep moving forward. Now let us discuss the theme of the story. What is the theme? A theme is the central ideas which the story encompasses or elaborates upon. So when we read the story, we saw that the author often mentions gold, wealth and possession. So he talks about wealth and possession in the story. He also comments on the economic times, means the time when the story was written. He talks about the economic condition of that time as well. He mentions there was inflation. The prices of the products were on a rise. People were looking for extra cash. And he wanted to cut down his taxes. He wished that his revenues he could generate from somewhere. And when we read the story, we also learn that it is a reflection of the society that existed during the times of the British. As you all very well know, when we were reading the story, he comments about the dressing sense of the Britishers. He comments upon the different kinds of social classes during the British time. So we see very subtly the author touches about on the class disparity as well. Disparity means the differences. When we read the story, we understand that some students have to go through a lot even to get a simple clothing stitched. And some people are wearing very luxurious saris. And there is also a division in those people. The high rankers get a seat in the front, and according to their status in the society, they have different seating arrangement in the graduation hall. So we understand during the British time there was a class disparity that existed in the society, and very subtly, not in a very dwelling manner, the author Jay Dubashi has talked about all these themes. Coming to the characters in the story. Characters, as you all know, means the characters sketched by the author in the story, the people or person he mentions in the story. The very first character that we come across is, of course, the narrator or the author. He is narrating a personal account of a memory that is still very vivid. Vivid means fresh in his mind. And then we come across the author's friend. He is the person who suggests him that you have to get a proper suit stitched as you're getting a gold medal from the governor of the country. Then there is a tailor who stitches a very native, that is fashionable suit for the author. There is also a crowd of students. This crowd is the protesting crowd that stands outside the graduation hall, and they're protesting the British government. They do not want the function to be a successful one. Apart from these characters, there are more. Let's see. In the story, we see the narrator or the author mentions us that he is not the only medalist. There are 5 to 6 other students. Then, of course, there is the governor. His name is Lord Brabourne, after whom there's a stadium named in Mumbai. He was also the guest of honor, means the chief person who was going to hand over the medals to the gold medal winners, the scholars. Then we have the entourage. The entourage is the group of people, as I've explained earlier in the video, who flank the governor, that who walk with the governor. They can be security personnel or people of high rankings. Then, of course, there is the audience attending the graduation ceremony, and these audiences are from different classes. These audiences, some are Parsi women. They are they're dressed very elaborately. Then there are the escorts also, the ones who are escorting the Parsi ladies. Then there are army officers who are wearing a lot of medals on their tunic. And there are the teachers, not just from the college of which the author is a student, but also from the neighboring colleges. And all of them are seated according to their rankings and status in the society. Now, of course, we have the star of the story, we can say, the grandmother. The grandmother who took the gold medal from the author for safekeeping, and unfortunately, the author never found the gold medal or never had the opportunity to hold it again in his hand till date. So these are the characters which the author has created in the story, the golden moments. Let us now discuss the elements in the story. Elements simply mean the technique, the method, or some special features in the story. The first element that strikes our mind when we read the story is the method or technique of flashback. In the very beginning paragraph, we learn that the author is going to talk about an incident from his past. He takes the readers into flashback. Another element in the story is that of humor. Humor means light, witty, or small jokes. When we read the story, we don't see an outright joke being told by the author. He does not dwell or tries to impose jokes on us, but when we read, we understand there are humorous undertones. There is hilarity in the whole story. He, the author, has gone through so much to earn a gold medal, and in the end, he does not even get it. That's the humor. And even throughout the story, he talks about his local dressing and how he should dress up and look presentable. But there are some people who are protesting outside, in fact, throwing crows at the Union Jack. These are humorous things. There's another example here that I have quoted for you. It was my first convocation and I didn't want it to be my last. That makes us chuckle. Okay, another element in the story is irony. Irony means when there is a certain state of affairs or situation with an expected outcome, but it leads to a completely opposite result. That is irony. So when we read the story, we see the author's ordeals are met with contrary results. His efforts do not meet the desired outcome. He makes all the effort to receive a gold medal, and for what? A medal that he hasn't really possessed even till date. Now there is another element which we call the pun in the story. Pun means when a word can have different and possible meanings. The title itself, Golden Moments, is a pun. It is a play around the different meanings of the word golden. The author might either be referring to the moment he received a gold medal or to the rich memory of his past. He can be talking about either of the two or both the two. So there is pun in the title of the story. Let us come to the discussion of textual exercises. We have already discussed these in our previous video, but let us go through these once again. Understand and answer. Match these words with their meanings. Column A has the word and column B has their meanings. Presentable, it means to look clean and smart for public. Natty, it means neat and fashionable. Contingent means a group of people. It's a collective noun. Strategically, it simply means to position something for best control in order to avoid chaos or confusion. Coming to the fill in the blanks, let us fill in these blanks with the correct words and phrases from the text. The author lived in Bombay or Mumbai at the time of his matriculation. He was 16 years old. He was awarded a gold medal for standing first in matriculation. He received the medal after almost 1 year. Dash presented the medal to the author and pinned it on his suit. Lord Brabourne, the governor, presented the medal to the author and pinned it on his suit. Okay, match the idioms and phrases in column A with their correct meanings in column B. To fall back on, it means to rely on something, to trust on something. To be in full cry, it means people rushing you or insisting you on something, which means to be insistent on. To make a big hole in my pocket, it means when something is very expensive, it has cost you a lot and made a hole in your pocket. To make a dent, dent means to reduce or diminish something, to make it less. Coming to the question answers. Question A. What preparations did the author have to make for the ceremony? While reading the story, we come to know first the author had to prepare for a nice piece of clothing. He had to get new clothes stitched. He did not have enough money. He provided the cloth and got new clothes stitched. Why did his friends encourage him to get a suit? They encouraged him to get a suit because he did not own a presentable clothing. An Englishman, the governor Lord Brabourne, was going to be the guest of honor. He had to look presentable. That is why the friends encouraged him to get a new suit. What happened on the day of the ceremony in Bombay? We understand from the story that on the day of the ceremony, there was a group of students in Bombay that did not want the ceremony to take place at all. They were protesting outside the graduation hall. They were carrying banners and placards and flags of protestations, and they were even carrying dead crows. Was it a grand ceremony? Yes, it was a grand ceremony. Give reasons to support your answer. Here we shall quote instances from the story that explain that it was a grand ceremony. For example, the decoration of the hall you can talk about, the number of audiences and the different kinds of audiences, how well they were dressed. Even the army personals were there. The entourage was a huge one. The dais was decorated. The Union Jack was up. All these show that the ceremony was a grand one. What was the author worried about at the time of the ceremony? While the ceremony was going on, it was raining outside, and since the author had a new pair of clothes, had put on a new pair of clothes, he wanted to go home without getting drenched in the rain. So he was worried about how to go home without spoiling his new dress. The author thought his grandmother was wealthy. What does he say to prove this? In the story, you will see towards the end, it is mentioned that the author believed that his grandmother owned or possessed gold more than the Reserve Bank of India, which is clearly an indication that the author believed his grandmother was wealthy. So much we have discussed, and in the last video we discussed the next one, the think and appreciate, which you shall do on your own. Here are the assignments for you. You have to read the chapter, you will underline the tough words, and you will learn the word meanings that are given in the glossary of your reader book. You shall complete the textual exercises in the reader book itself. Only the question answers that are given on page number 9 that you shall do in your English copy. And the think and appreciate part, question number 1, that is on page number 9. You have to do that in the English copy. This we have already discussed in our last video. And based on your understanding of the lesson, what you have understood from the lesson, you are going to give a pictorial representation. Pictorial representation simply means you will draw a picture, color it based on what you have understood from the chapter. That's all, children. This brings us to the end of the lesson. If you have any confusion or any doubts, we shall discuss it in the live sessions when we meet next. Okay, that brings us to the end. Thank you, children. Take care.